Alright everyone, I wanted to show you my notebook because this notebook has helped me in so many ways. It's helped me keep track of everything that's going on in my mind, as far as the information I try to remember from school and various other things. Just anything that I try to learn that hasn't got anything to do with the Bible. It's just specifically of this world knowledge for, math, science, English, all that stuff. So I just have this marker here that I made out of some scrapbook paper I got from Michael's, and I kept the plastic that it came in around it so that it wouldn't ruin the metallic silver that's on there. Isn't that pretty? The gold, well, it's silver foil, but it's really nice and I like it. And I just keep some sticky notes. I got these from Walmart and these are from Family Dollar. And this is my mega planner I showed you guys in the video that I did before my last video. This was like 2 videos ago, but anyway, if you wanted to look at that, I will leave a link down below. But here is my notes area, my flap out. I'm just gonna leave my bookmark up here. And so here I just have a card and a couple of decorations. It's really just for the, the prettiness of it, so I'll keep trying to look in it. And see, I've got sticky notes with knowledge everywhere. Okay, so let me see. Zoom in just a little bit. Okay, so I have, my goal is to try to be a polymath. I want to know as much as I can about as many subjects as possible. I want to have insight on as many things as I possibly can. I decided that a long time ago, and this is how I felt like I would be able to succeed in that, because I can review this information all the time. So, what you need to know about human energy. See, I just have sticky notes everywhere. So, it starts off with a table of contents, which kind of it decimated a little bit. I haven't really gotten to get to the table of contents the way I wanted to. Since Voltaire. Okay. Got so many sticky notes. I'm going to stick that there. Okay, moving on. So when I do get the chance, I'm going to go through and write out the entire table of contents on this page and possibly add another one if need be. But then I liked how Neil deGrasse Tyson explained the entire universe's birth from start to finish in a calendar scheme. So I kind of took that idea and kind of wrote it out here, because I really feel like that is a good synopsis of the entire history of the universe, if you're gonna follow that sort of thinking state. If you think and believe that evolution is the way that the world has come to pass, then that's what you believe. If you don't, you don't. I myself don't know what to believe. I believe in the Bible, and I do believe in science, and I feel like on many levels they're one and the same, and I feel that people should learn both so that they can make the comparison themselves as well. At any rate, I've got the entire our universal address, Earth, the solar system, and the Milky Way galaxy of the local group of the Virgo supercluster in the observable universe. Which is really cool. I really like knowing all this information. Anyway, and so I started off with the, it's debatable, they're not really sure if there was a Croatoan period, or Chaotian period, depends on how you want to pronounce that. I've had so many people try to pronounce it to me, but anyway, this is the chronostratigraphy format of how the universe came into play. And so I wrote all of that down from the Precambrian all the way to the Mesozoic era. So, well, that was, Precambrian is, it's not an era, it's an eon, but you get the point. So if you know anything about the whole theory of evolution, then you know what I'm talking about. Otherwise, I can just move on. But I decided I was gonna try to start from like 30,000 years ago and try to, you know, work my way up to all of human history. But I wasn't able to do that. I mean, these periods in between here are just such a huge mystery and a lot of guesswork for most scientists. Apparently, I did realize that. So it really starts around the end of the Holocene, or the end of well, the middle of it, I guess. Depends on how long the Holocene really is. Anyway, the Holocene is basically where we are right now. It was from 11,700 years ago to 1 AD. So that was the Holocene. Holocene 2, I think, or I'm not sure. We'll see. We're getting into all that stuff. I don't know. So moving on, as far as I can say, about 5,000 years ago is really when I can try to track most of the earliest history. So the Mesopotamians and the Sumerians, and you know, just kind of going in there. And I really would like to get into some Chinese history and really get into that, because you know, they have a very, very long history that's been recorded, and most other countries don't. So it was interesting to learn, you know, the first person to actually keep record of themselves or their own personal name was in a Sumerian village. I forget who it was. Edendwana was her name. She was an Akkadian princess, right? If you guys watched the Neil deGrasse Tyson series, you would have heard that from him. But this is all of my history. This is the Civil War. This is starting from the birth of Jesus. Well, when Jesus was born, they don't know. Obviously, it was sometime around this period. They're not really sure when he died, or they're not really sure when he was born. So I just leave that as, you know, guesswork. That was around the time. And then we've got, you know, the death of Alexander the Great, the Egyptians, Buddhism, all of that fun stuff. So I've really got an area where I can just explore history and write all about it, and I really like that. So then here I have just, like, for instance, right now, this is what I'm doing right now. I'm really going over all of the current history, so to speak. I'm doing current events. Like, I'm really trying to get to know who all of the people in office are. John O'Brien, you know, I'm trying to, Rudy Giuliani, I'm trying to understand who Jeff Sessions is, and, you know, I've learned who Jeff Sessions is. And I was sad to see John McCain died, because I do know quite a bit about him from, you know, previous times he ran for office, but I didn't realize that he was going through so many things. And so now I'm trying to keep up with current events and things like that. So I'm just writing. What I like to say here is just kind of a synopsis of who the person was when they were born, what they were known for, that sort of thing. This is Robert Hooke. And then this is Albert Einstein, got Copernicus, Galileo, a whole bunch of different random people. And of course, Benjamin Franklin, I have not gotten through with yet because I am still reading his books. Next, we have quotes. I love this page because I've written a lot of my favorite quotes in here. I still have some Tomeo River paper that I actually ripped out from a journal that I was trying to put all of these in, and now I want to keep them all here. So I really like how this is, because if you didn't notice, I can just flip these up and write as many quotes as I possibly want. And there's multiple pages in here. I know, I'm so silly and creative. I love the idea of having multiple places to do things and flaps and whatnot, because it makes it more fun and creative for me. And then I have room to grow, so if I need different subjects or whatever. So I really like that, and I think that every person who goes to school or tries to learn anything should do this, because I feel like it keeps all of that stuff that you learn at hand in your own handwriting, in your own words, so that you can constantly come back to it and not have any worries about whether or not you'll understand it or remember it. And I I showed you guys this paper before in my last video of October Plan With Me, where I was actually using it to decorate with, but I really liked the idea of having these old maps here in my geography section. I really like my geography section a lot. As you can see, I drew it myself, and of course it's not perfect, so don't laugh at me. It's just, I wanted to draw it myself. I was like, what states do I remember? And I ended up doing it, and I realized there were so many places I did not realize where they were. Like I just, most of these states right up in here, I was just clueless, because I've lived over here in this area my entire life, and so all of this over here is kind of oblivious to most of us, because we've got our own stuff going on, and we're like, oh, those political nuts over there, they need to chill out a little. But yes, and then we have South America. Oh, and by the way, shout out to Crayola for not creating a system where you can get individual markers, because I need individual markers. And if anybody knows where you can get individual Crayola markers, please tell me. So next we have Africa. I took my time and really just sat and wrote all this out. I really enjoyed it, because I realized I had no idea where most of these countries were, or that some of them even existed. And then of course I got to the UK, and I really loved doing the UK and, you know, a little bit of Asia, and I kind of haven't finished with it because there's so much of the world to try to map out. So I'm taking my time with it. As you can see, I finally started on South America. I did Africa because I wanted to know where, you know, most of the stuff with Jesus and Moses and all of the Bible folks were, where they were located, and you know, it was in this area. So it was in this area and this area, so I needed to really write these out in order to understand. I started off doing just these two, and then I was like, well, I want to do the whole world, because I knew I wanted a geography section, but I just wasn't sure what I was going to put, and then I ended up, yeah, doing this. So I got to do Asia, and then of course I have to do Australia, and so I could do Antarctica too, but I'm not going to, because that's just a, you know, kind of a desolate area. So, or at least that's what we're told. Anyway, so moving on, geochemistry. So I tried to make sure, because when I was first designing this book, it was really difficult for me, because I wanted to make sure that the categories or the subjects kind of fell into the next and the next and the next, you know? So we have geochemistry, how the world works, the water and life cycles, and then we have the atmosphere, the exosphere, thermosphere, all of that stuff. I love this kind of stuff. It's so fun for me. And then I just have just kind of a history of geochemistry. I was going to actually draw out how land masses work, you know, tributaries and beaches, and the difference between forests and jungles and all that jazz. The stuff we learn in, like, what is it, 5th grade? I just want to write it out so that I can probably give these to my kids, so that they can learn off of this stuff later on when they are in high school and whatnot. Anyway, so I just did a little bit more of an elaborate kind of look at the atmosphere, and as you can see, I have a lot of different sticky notes everywhere. I'll just trying to kind of figure out what's going on. Like, for instance, this is keeping track of the world's basically levels of CO2, nitrogen, all of the chemical levels, and how they have risen so steeply in the last just within the last couple of hundred years. Thousands and thousands of years it was stagnant and just, you know, kind of stayed at the same place, but up until like the Industrial Revolution, that's when all of our greenhouse gases, well, particularly carbon, started just skyrocketing. Isn't that ridiculous? It's a terrible number. So, I mean, it's just, you know, I like knowing this kind of stuff, because it's important for us to make sure that that is something that we keep in mind, because our planet is our home, and it's always going to be our home, so we need to start taking care of it. And I ripped this page. I was so sad. But then there's Claire Patterson. I loved this whole thing because, okay, planning for disaster, that comes within geochemistry, because as long as we take care of the planet and know more about it, we can take care of it. And Claire Patterson was a man who noticed that the levels of iron in our products, in our land, in our everything was going up, and it was because of big businesses and, of course, big gas and big oil and all that stuff. They didn't care, and they were just putting it in the air and products. It was just ridiculous. So there's more on that subject. There's the industrial age, you know, just how the planet has progressed. And then there's humanity. Of course, I had to do this subject because it's important for me to understand the people and all the personalities that I have in my life, or that are, you know, the people and the personalities. I just said that. Anyway, so of course I have loads to do on this. I still have so much to go on. I have many pages I'm probably going to add, and I really have to work on this section a little bit more. Spirituality, I do kind of have a section for this already. Like, I had to create a new section because I didn't realize I was going to get so much information I wanted to track here. So and then we have the history of religion, because let's face it, humanity started off religious. No matter what you think or say, we all started off believing in that there was something higher than ourselves. And so I wanted to kind of, you know, keep track of that. The oldest religion in the world, Hinduism and Zoroastrianism. It's just amazing to, you know, find out that these are the things that I didn't know, you know, and, you know, just learning all of the different things about the world. So, and it's like Judaism, of course, predates Jainism and Christianity. Confucianism and Buddhism go before Christianity. Taoism and Shintoism go before Christianity. They're all in order of how old they are, and Christianity is so new. And it's interesting because I've learned that Christianity falls a lot into these categories. Christianity is Catholicism. Christianity is, I didn't write them here, but it is also a form of, there's a lot of paganism in Christianity. There, depending on which branch that you go off to. There's the evangelists, there's Baptists, there's so many different Christians. But we all usually have the same core values, that Jesus Christ is the Lord and Savior. So, well, except for paganism, they believe in something completely different, which I am learning about now. And then, of course, there's the lost gospels and stuff, and I wanted to get into that, you know, like the book of Jasher, and the book of Enoch, and I looked into that because I was very curious about what was going on there, and I spoke with my grandmother because she's a devout Jehovah's Witness. She's been in the faith for 40 years. So, you know, I was asking her why they didn't do, you know, why did they only put certain books in the Bible, you know, and then she just, of course, she had her answer. So, I'm just doing a little research on my own. And then we have Socrates, or the Socratic method, the Mormons, Scientology, evolution, Greek mythology, Roman mythology, all of that stuff I want to study. And then, of course, I want to get into the occult, because that is a part of our life and our world as well. We have to realize that, yes, there are Satanists, there are cultists, there are all kinds of people out there who are trying to get other people to do things that they may not want to. So, yes, and then we go on to sociology, which is a whole nother study. And then mythology, I started Nordic, Scandinavian folklore, just, you know, getting into that kind of stuff. And finally, we move on to government, which I have not gotten a chance to really go through and write out all of the definitions for all of the different kinds of governments, even though everybody knows what socialism and communism and all that other jazz is. And then I have to finish writing out all of the court justice, or the justices for the U.S. Senate, and then I wanted to try to write down all of the House of Representatives, but I just saw no point in that. So there's so many of them. There's like 430, I forget how much. But anything, Anyway, so I got psychology section, which as you can see I have not started much on. However, I have written a few things on certain personalities that I feel like I've encountered. For instance, I feel like I've encountered narcissist. I feel like I've encountered many other different kinds actually. And I've actually come to discover that I am an empath, which is kind of interesting because I was always wondering why I was always crying and always sensitive to everything, and everybody was always like, why are you so sensitive? What's wrong with you? So I've been kind of trying to find out what's going on with my personality, because I found out I'm an INFJ first. Did a personality test. INFJ is apparently very close to, most INFJs are empaths. So more on that later. And then I've got my biology section, where I start off with cellular biology because that was my favorite subject in school, actually. I love cellular biology. I was going to be a neurologist. Gosh, Neelix! I was going to be a neurologist. I really like the idea of working to help people and, help their bodies to, work functional, to work and function properly. So that was my focus, and yeah, so I really haven't gotten to write out most of what I've been trying to. I wanted to do human anatomy. I was going to do several different ones, kind of like a book that I had. It was a, what do they call those things again? Encyclopedia. Oh my gosh, we haven't said those words in so long, have we? But yeah, it was like an encyclopedia, and I kind of wanted to just flip page to page and go through each body system. Circulatory, nervous system, all of that stuff. And then of course I have the periodic table. What book wouldn't have the periodic table if you're learning stuff? So my goal was to go through each day as much as I could and try to learn as many of the elements or all of the elements as I could, and kind of, connect them to what's being used in the world. So I'm not just clueless when somebody says, well, okay, I need to get some rubidium and put it in this, and I'm like, what the heck is rubidium? Is that safe? So I saved quite a few pages for that, because there's quite a few elements, and there's been one that was recently discovered, so that might be interesting and awesome to discover and learn. Neelix, I swear if you do this in my paper again. Do you always have to do stuff? I'm sorry guys, he's where the camera is and he's just pain in the butt. Anyway, so basically what we have is, okay, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to move. So also I was doing Animalia because when I learn about a new animal, I like to be able to put the animal in a certain category, and so I tried to start doing that in biology. As you could see, it had the phyla and the phylums for certain classes of animals here, but I realized I wanted to have its own section because I didn't want to put that in biology, because it's not biology, they're different animals, and so that's why I figured I should have, oh my gosh, Neelix, stop! That's why I figured I should have an Animalia section, so that's what that is. And so, it just kind of goes through, and at some point I'm going to finish this. It's just going to take a while. And as you can see, I've got some flowers that I dried here in my book, and it's the plant section, so I believe it would be Plantea. But, yeah, so that's what that is. Let's move that over. I haven't gotten to any of that, by the way. And then we've got my math section, which I showed you guys this before. And this is my math section in a nut. My math section is just comprised of 2 pages, well 3 pages now, because I haven't gotten a chance to get through and do this. Been trying to get it done for the past 2 weeks. It's just been taking a while. This was going to be my geometry section, and then obviously I'm going to add more pages for calculus and all that stuff that comes later. And then I have my science section, where I have broken it down into a couple of different things. I started with atoms, and I'm just working my way up through the different categories of things like light, and just the history of discovering that, and then the photons, electrons, neutrons, and protons, and the difference of those, and how many different well, yeah, you get my point. I'm not going to say how many different kinds. That's just ridiculous. That's just a ridiculous statement. So, and then we've got smell, we've got taste, even though that could go in biology, but it's also just kind of a form of science, I guess. I don't know. See, there were some things that I wasn't sure where I wanted to put them yet, and I added a lot of different sections in between other sections, which is why you see different kinds of paper here and there. It's like there's this paper, and then there's this paper, and that's why you see that. It's because of added pages in here and there. So we've got sound and wavelengths and all that stuff. I love this kind of stuff, guys. Love it, love it, love it. And so we've got electricity, and I've been learning how generators work and AC current, basically alternating currents work, and direct currents, and, you know, magnetism, and how magnetism and electricity go hand in hand, and that was just so fun to learn. And then, of course, there's physics. I'm starting to understand physics so well now, you guys. I love that. I love that so much. So, we've got Sir Isaac Newton. I haven't put all my notes in here about him yet. Wolfgang Pauli, love him. And then we've, of course, got Michael Faraday. Cannot forget Michael Faraday. He is the king when it comes to electricity and how things were discovered, and, you know, how Nikola Tesla, of course, was also one of the awesomest scientists of our time, and he should have been given more credit, if you ask me. I haven't finished drawing him out here, but I really, really liked him, and I really, like, if I could meet anyone in history, it'd be him, and Benjamin Franklin, and probably, I don't know, we'll see. I'm still debating on a lot of that. I could probably want to meet, like, I don't know, Aristotle, probably. Anyway. So we got Albert Einstein, and he helped me to really understand how we're not really focused on gravity anymore. It's all about it's all about space-time, and, you know, just where we are in space and how matter affects the space we're in. And I just understood it finally after watching Neil deGrasse Tyson's series, and it really just, everything kind of just snapped and made sense. It was really nice. And then we got dark matter, straight quantum physics. So I'm getting into that. I'm trying. So I've got a lot I've got to still do with that. So I'm gonna get to that eventually. But and then we move into engineering. I have a lot I still have to do working with engineering, because I've learned a lot, like, for instance, about batteries and, you know, how those work, and there's a lot of things that I'm still interested in. For instance, I want to know how cars work, and I'm going to get into all of that eventually. But then we have the astronomy section, which I loved so much. Obviously, I had to put an astronomy section. I knew it was going to be towards the back, and I did it earlier on, so I liked that. And this is our galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy. Isn't that pretty? Not really. It's got a lot of work I need to do on it. Add some stars and really nice things into it. And there's Andromeda over there. And so I'm just kind of really just taking my time with writing out everything that has to do with the entire world and universe. Supergiants, pulsars, white dwarfs, all the space talk, all of the astronomy talk. And at some point I want to get outside and really map out the stars in my own neighborhood, because every time I jog, I always see this one star, and I'm trying to figure out where it is and, like, what star it is, because I don't know, it's really interesting to me. And so I've been trying to write out constellations and stuff that are in that area. So I'm trying to learn the constellations, the Pleiades, Orion's Belt, you know, that kind of stuff. Getting to that very slowly, but I'm still getting there. And then we have William Herschel, information that he discovered in the astronomy field. It was really cool to learn about stellar charting, and, you know, how Celia Payne and Annie Jump Cannon actually found out a way to, you know, understand that all stars and all planets are made up of the same thing. So it was really cool to find out and learn. Binary star systems, all that junk. And then we have the Carina Nebula. I know I tried to draw it. Well, I don't know. I tried to draw it, but it came out kind of sloppy, but I still like it. I think it looks good. And then we've got my art section. I wanted to start off with all of the different periods of art, and I'm slowly going through that. I have all of those written out. Michelangelo. Okay, so yeah, that's all the different kinds of art. And then, of course, after astronomy and art, you have astrology. And so, of course, I have to delve into some things. Astrology is, obviously, it's a pagan thing, and I'm not really into it. It's just I want to know half of the things that people are talking about so that I'm not ignorant. I mean, ignorance is one thing, but you choose ignorance. I'd rather not be ignorant, even though they're bad. I'd like to know what it is that I'm trying to stay away from. You're supposed to know your enemy. And I was going to start in a language section, but I realized I didn't need to do that, so that's why that was there. But then I have my spirituality section. I told you guys from the psychology section, I did have spirituality page, or no, it was humanity, yeah. I had a spirituality page, but I hadn't really elaborated on it because this is literally one page. Spirituality is so much more than one page. So I created a section for it, and I really like it because I feel that it's really important to know about spirituality and to know that there is more to life than what meets the eye. So I just actually wrote out the stages of spirituality, and I really, really love this list because it's really accurate, and I feel that everybody should kind of keep information like this close to them so that they know how to deal with things in life, and when people ask them questions and they don't know the answer to it, they can review their notes and understand. So as you can see, I did create a language section back here, and I do plan to learn Urdu and possibly Russian and Chinese and Korean and Japanese. I don't know why I put that. I think I was just going through the motions of writing states and stuff down. But French, I do want to learn French. There's just Portuguese, all that stuff. I want to try to learn languages. I love languages, guys. I do. But then back here, I just have a summary of Earth I'm going to do, and then back here is just a place where I can put other random sticky notes, and then I want to kind of have a written dissertation back here of all the things that I learned somewhere close to the end of my life. So, you guys, that is my entire notebook planner where I keep all the stuff that I try to learn. I just put any other notes that I have back here, and I write it out later on in my book so that I can have all that information available. If you guys have any questions, please leave them in the comments. But I love and enjoy showing you guys my stuff, and please look forward to another video coming up soon. I did 2 videos today. I'm on a roll. I have no idea what's going on, guys, but thanks for watching, and as always, stay meticulous.